What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And real quick, before we get started here on this box office talk, wanted to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you guys out there. Hope you're enjoying time with friends and with family. I'll be doing that in just a moment. Just wanted to drop a quick video talking about the box office and what's going on with that. Wanted to give a shout out and say thank you to all the new subscribers. Seen a lot of new subscribers starting to flow in, so I appreciate that. And then also some of you guys that show up for the live stream as well. New subscribers and old coming through on the live stream. Really appreciate that. Don't forget the DA's office every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Join in on the conversation. We're having a good time over there. And, you know, if you guys can drop in, say what's up, even if you can't stay the entire time, definitely appreciate that. It's helping out a lot. All right, let's go ahead and get into some box office talk. So you can see this Christmas box office is down 7% from 2022. This is the headline by Deadline. Aquaman 2, $40 million. Wonka, $28 million. Ferrari and The Boys in the Boat launched their previews. This is the Monday update. And yeah, we expected this. We expected the box office not to be so hot this year because, look, frankly, there's nothing out. Everything good in theaters right now is coming from Japan, right? You know, The Boy and the Heron and Godzilla -1. You know, nobody's here for this, you know, a dying franchise. You know, Aquaman 2, the DCEU is dead. Nobody's here for that. Nobody's here for this Wonka remake of a remake of a remake. You know, like how many people really want to go and check that out? You know, and Ferrari and Boys in the Boat, they just got here. Ferrari, I'm interested in. I'm definitely going to check out Ferrari while it's in theaters to see what it is. Michael Mann, we just talked about that, that cat on the DA's office. Like, yeah, you know, this guy's a good filmmaker, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, mostly let's talk about Aquaman 2 and the box office bomb that it is. You know, because look, we all expected Aquaman 2 not to do well. I've been talking about it since the beginning of the year when James Gunn announced the reboot. I said, well, he just left all of these other films out to dry. You know, Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, nobody's going to check out for these joints. Yeah, you can see on Box Office Mojo, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, worldwide total $120 million. That's pathetic. You know, that's very pathetic, man. That used to be like the domestic total for some of these high-end superhero joints. Just for the domestic side, but now domestic, yeah, it's only $40 million. So a third of generally the worldwide total, $80 million on the international. I said this would be more of an international play, and it's going to be. The international audiences are going to have to carry this film. You know, it did in the first one. The original Aquaman was carried highly by the international audience. So we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, the question now becomes, you know, what is the reason that people didn't go and see Aquaman? Is it because of the reboot? You know, I put a lot of it on the reboot. I put a whole lot of it on the reboot, you know, or is it because of Amber Heard? You know, because you got to start thinking this film made a billy. All right. The original one. I mean, Aquaman made a billy, you know, and it's kind of the same thing with Captain Marvel, right? Captain Marvel made a billy. But these sequels, all right, the Marvels, that's a giant flop. You know, that thing barely cracked $200 million. You know, you're talking about a huge fall off with the Marvels. And then you got Aquaman, and so far, not so good. Now, I think this will ultimately do slightly better than the Marvels. I think it'll crack the $200 million mark. It actually might do very well. A lot of people seem to like this film. You know, I thought it was aight. You know, I thought Aquaman and Lost Kingdom was aight for a film. It's not a, it's watchable, but again, it's like on that Jurassic World Dominion kind of watchable. If you just like watching dinosaurs eat people, okay, go. You'll have a great time. Leave your brain at the door. That's what this is. It's brainless fun. You know, it's, you know, two guys on a buddy caper adventure type thing. You know, it's watchable. I didn't mind it. You know, I liked the first one better, but I didn't mind this one. This one, you know, had its fun. You know, and there's a lot of weird creatures in it, and you know, some of the battle scenes are pretty cool. Black Manta's a great villain. You know. Although they kind of nerfed him a little bit, but I thought, you know, his scenes, he was menacing. The actor, you know, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, he's a good actor. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but it's not a great movie. But the question I have is, why are people checking out on this thing? Why didn't nobody go and watch this? You know, is it because of Amber Heard? You know, a lot of people said, hey, I'm not checking this out because of Amber Heard. You know, let's look at this real quick. Yeah, so here's today's X, and you can see celebrities trending Amber Heard. Gee, I wonder why. And there's an Amber Heard Brazil fan account. That's hilarious. But yeah, let's go ahead and check this out. Look, first one. Imagine you have a $205 million budget for your movie, but you have Amber Heard in the cast, and now nobody wants to watch it. It's almost like a petition signed by millions of people warning them this would happen. Yeah, I mean, it could be because of Amber Heard. Which, again, you got to start to think. When it comes to these actresses, you know, we talk about Brie Larson, we talk about Amber Heard, we talk about Rachel Zegler. These actresses being box office poisoned because they've made comments or they've, you know, or the way they live out their lives or whatever the case may be. People are just like, no, I'm not going to check for this film. You know, I'm not going to watch this film because they have this actor in it. The box office reaction to Aquaman 2 and Amber Heard still being in it. That's a good one right there, man. Yeah, this, oh my God, get away from that! This guy says, Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom was enjoyable, but not without its issues. Negatives, a cringe humor, yep, needle drops. Amber Heard was awful. Momoa was too out of control at times. You can see where the edits are, and I'm convinced there's a better cut of this movie somewhere in the vault. Yeah, I just thought it was just an all right movie. You know, I'm not going to break it down all the way to its, like, you know, specifics. It's just an all right movie, you know. There's some things they could have done better. Definitely Jason Momoa was excessive, you know. But, you know, again, Amber Heard was awful. And look, Amber Heard is only in this movie like maybe 10, 15 minutes, you know. Out of the 2 hours of runtime, whatever it is, she's in this thing 10 or 15 minutes. And those 10 or 15 minutes are negligible. She's barely doing anything in those 10 or 15 minutes. A lot of Amber Heard could have been cut out, you know. Like, just real talk, a lot of her could have been cut out, but maybe they had some, you know, contractual reason for doing that. I regret to inform you that, this is the quartering. I regret to inform you that Amber Heard is actually in the new Aquaman movie a lot. Reports of her basically being cut out turned out not to be true. I wasn't going to see it anyway. Just a piece of news from people who have seen it. She's not in it that much. She really isn't. She's in it, like, again, maybe 15 minutes. And then the moments that she's in, it's just her, you know, there's a few lines. She's barely in this movie, you know, so not to say that you should run out and see it because she's barely in it. I'm just saying she's not in it a lot, but a lot of people chose, hey, I'm not going to go and see it. Amber Heard's only news scene. This is what I'm talking about. This type of stuff turns out to be box office poison. When you have these types of actresses or this type of a scenario going on, you know, the whole situation with her taking a poop on Johnny Depp's bed. And we got this person. Since they did not remove the abuser Amber Heard from the movie, we will give them what they deserve. Here's hashtag Mira in a court hearing being reprimanded by the judge for beating her ex-wife, Tasia Van Ree. Aquaman, Lost Kingdom, Aquaman 2, Amber Heard is an abuser. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you have this kind of a poison pill attached to your film at this point, you know, they're going to have to start vetting things very, very, very carefully, you know, because if this stuff ends up becoming like, you know, a negative on your film, you know, like, you know, what do we do? You know, like Brie Larson and Rachel Zegler didn't do none of this stuff. You know, they didn't do none of this stuff. I mean, they've just been kind of annoying people in public, you know, making annoying comments, you know, being kind of asshole-ish, you know, being very, you know, arrogant. You know, that's what they did. Amber Heard is a whole different, you know, a whole horse of a different color. This person says, WB spent $200 million plus making a movie they couldn't even hold a premiere for. They didn't hold a premiere. That's crazy. You sit back and think about that. They didn't even have a world premiere where they got to talk to the stars on the red carpet. That was crazy. Because it was universally panned by critics, boycotted by the public because of their refusal to fire Amber Heard, court-proven domestic abuser and liar, and sabotaged by her own supporters who openly wished death on JM. I'm guessing she meant JD, maybe Johnny Depp. But yeah, I mean, again, this type of stuff they're going to have to start to take a look at. You know, and listen, look, I'm not one that wants people, you know, career. I can separate the art from the artist. All right. I'm that kind of cat. I could be like, you know what? I might not like you as an individual, but I can watch your movie and get something out of that or whatever. Or I can watch your television program or whatever, read your book. You know, I'm not one of these people that's like, well, you know, if we got an artist and the artist does something wrong, you know, I can never watch anything that they're in ever again. I'm not that cat. You know, I'm not saying that you should be that way or shouldn't be that way. I'm just saying that's not me, you know. But you got to start to wonder, you know, like these cats that are box office poison, and they're destroying the box office for some of these films, you're going to have to start vetting these a little bit differently. You're going to have to. This guy, I've got 3 boys and I'm happily married. If Amber Heard wasn't in Aquaman 2, I would have taken them all. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, Warner Brothers. Wow. Yeah, so basically, people are boycotting this strictly based on Amber Heard. So you wonder now, how much money did they leave on the table? How much money was left out here? How much more would they have made domestically, maybe even internationally, if they had said, you know what, let's just go ahead and just remove this chick all the way out? They could have done it. They could have absolutely removed, hey, let's reshoot some stuff to kind of connect this together, kind of. And let's just move on because, people aren't going to come and check this out for Amber Heard. I don't know how much that would have made a difference. What would that have ended up becoming? Another maybe 5-10 million. I just think people weren't interested in watching this movie altogether, strictly straight up because it was a rebooted universe. And they knew, all right, Aquaman is done. No reason to come and check for this. We're out. We're done. Even if they scrubbed Amber Heard completely out of the movie, just completely gone from the movie. Would that have made people, oh, yeah, now we're going to watch this thing, another $1 billion hit? Nah, not even close. Because, again, it's a dying, dead universe, all right? Why do I care what the sequel to Aquaman, the Aquaman that's moving forward, and we might get some information in this movie that connects to a future movie? Okay, let's go and check it out. I'm still all down for the cinematic universe stuff. Let's see what James Gunn might have in store for us now that he's taken over DC. Maybe he's going to plug some stuff into Aquaman that's going to set up something in the future. But just the sequel to Aquaman, I'm good. Like I said, the original film, it did a lot internationally. What did it do again? Yeah, you can see 70% of its take was international. 50-50 is kind of the norm. Sometimes you get a 40-60. This thing is 30 domestic, 71% almost, 71% on the international front, $816 million out of that $1.1 billion came from international markets. This thing is going to have to get carried over by the international markets. That's just the only thing to it, domestically, it did okay. But yeah, it's going to need to definitely, Aquaman 2, that is definitely going to have to get picked up by the international market. Otherwise, it's going to bomb. It's going to bomb. It's going to be yet another DC box office bomb, which sets an interesting table for James Gunn because obviously that's a lot of brand damage. Another DC box office bomb. Before he gets the Superman legacy. Now, I know he's still going to have Batman and the Joker, but it seems like Batman and the Joker and all of those types of characters, they kind of like stand away from like the core of the DC universe, because those things seem to be all right on their own. But like when you get back to all of this other DC stuff, they're like, you guys don't really do a good job with it. We're not too interested in this stuff, Now, again, Aquaman, it was the best of the bunch. In terms of the box office appeal anyway, it was the best of the bunch, did amazing numbers all the way across the board. And now its sequel is falling on hard times, So it'll be interesting to see what happens due to the brand damage that Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the second Aquaman, has done to the DC universe leading into James Gunn's DC, his version, with DCEU. It's going to be interesting to see how he pieces all of that stuff together, if he's able to kind of build some momentum. So far, the casting looks good for Superman Legacy, but, he has to be worried about the brand damage being done to DC as a whole, and Batman and the Joker, in my opinion, don't save it. It doesn't rescue it. Those things stand apart, and the other thing that's going to be interesting to watch is what happens to Amber Heard. Is her career pretty much over at this point? Is she such box office poison? If everybody's talking negatively about her, is everybody just going to start steering clear of this chick when it comes to acting? Like, nope, I'm not going to put her in anything. Is that what's going to happen with her? I see a lot of this stuff starting to, bubble up with actresses like Brie Larson, Rachel Zegler, and Amber Heard. They're going to have to really start, tippy-toeing around their image. Their image is everything when it comes to Hollywood. And, if they become poison, hey, man, it might be a wrap for these chicks in their careers. They're going to have to start learning a little bit of humility. Anyway, folks, you guys let me know what you think about all of these things. And again, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Hope you're enjoying time with your family. But go ahead, jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.